This is Lady Anne, owner of KPNL Radio and hostess of the Caravan Library of Lore, and I support Tessa. As an experiencer myself, I have filed my own reports with them, and the professionalism and heart they have shown my case goes above and beyond. If you have had an experience, I cannot recommend Tessa enough.
Hi, this is Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore from Ghostbusters. I want to let you know that Ryan Stacy, he's created the Experiencer Support Association, TESA. You can check them out at www.tesacan.org. Now, they investigate paranormal, UFO, and provide support to experiencers. But you can check them out at, like I said, www.tesacan.org and see for yourself if they're really Ghostbusters. I can tell you this, they are a non-profit organization. Good luck, have fun, and keep it honest.
Good evening. You are listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experiencer Support Association. Tessa is a UFO, paranormal, and paracryptid investigation association. We investigate everything belonging to the global phenomenon linked to highly strange and unexplained experiences. We also connect experiencers with other experiencers, creating a safe, positive environment to engage and discuss this phenomenon without judgment, criticism, or retribution. From the land of the white rolling sands on the southeasterly tip of Georgian Bay, to all of you listening around the world, as we simulcast live on KPNL Radio, we salute you. If you want to go back and listen to our previous episodes, go to youtube.com/the Experiencer Support Association. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be instantly notified when we are live, not only for these episodes, but every single element Tessa has to offer. On our website, tessacan.org, we have something for everyone. We have support for experiencers, data for independent researchers, and places to advertise for professional partners. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, May 6th, 2021, and I, Ryan Stacy, am your host this evening. As you have noticed, we have fired Patreon. Patreon is gone. It did not serve the purpose that we wanted, and as you could tell with the conversation we had in the pre-show, which was something we weren't able to do prior with Patreon, we have the super chat, and everything else is super good. Angela, I see your comment. I stopped my Patreon the day after I donated for May. See if you can get your money back. If you can't, let me know. I'll give it back to you. So, and thank you so much for being a member. So if you are a Patreon member, switch over to YouTube so we can have the super chat. You can subscribe, you can join, all that fun stuff. We'll talk about that later. So if you're watching this on the replay, remember to comment and let us know that you're here. All right, so let's get into it. Our guest for Season 3, Episode 15 is Jon Majerowski. He is back for some UFO updates, ufology updates. So basically, Jon has had his ear to the ground for a long time. I'm getting my news from his daily Twitter page, and I want to be briefed on all the stuff that's going on. So much stuff is happening. So it's so intense. Everything is developing. So we're going to do a special segment tonight where we're going to call it Beyond the Scoop, which is basically yeah, we're going to read the headlines that's been happening in the last 2 days and see if we can make sense of what's happening in the phenomenon today. John, for reminders, he is working in information security by day and searches for the truth by night. Jon Majerowski, via Phenomenology, Ufology, and Hermetic Mysteries, studies the connection between consciousness and UFOs. John is also a third-degree Master Mason, 32nd Scottish Rite Freemason, fourth grade Rosicrucian, Capitular Masonry in the Royal Archmasons, Cryptic Mason, from Royal and Select Masons, member of the Zenobia Shrine. And you can find him on Twitter at Jon Majerowski. And you can also find him on the most amazing name for a Masonic UFO group, UFOs on the Level. So I want to welcome back Jon Majerowski. How are you doing today, buddy?
Thanks, brother. Good to see you. I'm doing well. I'm sick. I want to preface that a little bit. So it's lovely during the pandemic. I can still get some kind of cold, or I got COVID. Either way, I'm having fun.
Let's not. Let's say you did. Let's say not. Or what's that expression? Let's not and say you did. Yeah,
let's not say I did. I don't know. The test hasn't come back yet, but it's all right. I'm not dead.
Well, I appreciate because you let me know this morning, and I appreciate that you made it throughout the day and you're still here. So we'll get through this.
Rock and roll, man. I'm going to be drinking the whole time. Just going to let you know. It's Grandpa's cough medicine. We're going to make it happen.
That's all good, man. It's going to be great by the end of the show. So just before we get into it, we want to announce our winner for last month's draw and who wins a hat, not this hat. This hat is my hat, but a hat like this hat and this bumper sticker. I am an experiencer. Nice. John, who's the winner?
Scarborough Sasquatch Station.
Perfect. So Scarborough Sasquatch Station, you are the winner. Please contact us so we can get your contact information and we can send out these goodies. Thank you so much for participating in the draw. The draw for next month, this month is gone. We're going to bring the draws back in June in a special format, in an auction format, actually. So this month, which I'm calling Membership May, we want you guys to subscribe and join our YouTube channel membership because we have so much new content that we're going to give you guys as members. And you're going to see a preview of that in the trailer, in the commercials, and at the end if you stick around. So before we get into it, John, how are you? How have you been besides being sick?
I've been doing really well, actually. I've got real deep into the phenomenon and recent news and, uncovered some things and had to take a step back for a weekend, went out into the woods and kind of just hung out with the family. And I did get to see some really cool stuff out there. And, just kind of recharge, I think that every once in a while you get sucked into this and it starts to run you, like for me, it's a hobby, right? I got a day job, got a family. And for me, it's just a hobby, but sometimes it pulls you in and you got to kind of step back because it's just a little bit too much. But, we can bring that up and some of the things that, I've been uncovering and been in the news. It's just real heavy, but it's an exciting time. So you really don't want to kind of sleep on it right now, right? You kind of want to get into it and just keep digging. So I think that's what we're doing.
I can appreciate that too. And that's where this episode is so unique and important because I've been busy too. I work as well, but I'm doing the investigations. I just prepared a report. I'm putting out our data and our research to put in the mix of all this wave of things. And I missed some of these headlines that you shared with me. I can't believe I missed it. So the fact is that, we're working together, but we're doing things differently. And now we're coming together and it's going to be, by the end of tonight, it's going to be one whole well-rounded, everyone's going to be up to speed.
Oh yeah, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. So let's share my screen here. I think this is the best way that I can do this. I want to guys let you know that we are using the super chat for the first time tonight. I have no idea how to use it. But Chantel is moderating and I'm looking at the as you can see here when I share my screen, you will see that I'm looking at a really not so friendly chat feature here, but it's important, and we'll get through it. So I put these in chronological order. So I wanted to start with this first thing here because you gave me a bunch of American stuff, but Canada's got stuff going too.
Well, to jump back into that, I must have been a couple weeks ago that wasn't there somebody who like basically cribbed from your work? I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it, whatever, we don't have to, but basically I saw something and I was like, hey, and Ryan was like, you were like, yeah, man, I did that like 6 months ago. Here, I did the report. Here's all the files. Thanks for stealing my stuff and not giving me any credit. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. Cause that's this fucking article.
Okay. All right. I knew that's what it was. Okay, good. I'm glad we talked about it.
So this article here basically, Canadian military documents UFO sightings, intelligent reports reveal. It's written on April 12, 2021, by a journalist named Daniel Otis. So this is a well-written journalistic story or event about how the Canadian government is investigating UFOs and the approach and where that information comes from. You can check it out and find it on the page and whatnot too. But as he goes through and explains the process, what was interesting about it is he showed this document. So this document, he explains in this that he retrieved the document from the database that shows that documents were already requested. So what he didn't know is that I was the guy that released this document to the public in 2019. I showed Richard Dolan this. I showed Paul Helleriot. I had it all. I released it, but I didn't really have that much of a noise in the community that it really didn't go anywhere. Plus, COVID happened, and then the world went tits up.
Yeah, right.
So a bit of a piss off, but also a happy mistake because he found this independently, and he saw how important it was. And through him, as a journalist, he was able to break the story that I never could.
Cool.
So it's amazing. And all in the meanwhile, while he's doing that, I was building the report that we just released. Mm-hmm. I think yesterday. I want to say yesterday.
Right.
And
to be fair, though, I mean, not giving this guy props, but I mean, like he would have no idea that you were the guy who requested to get released, though, right? I mean, that's not available for him to understand, right? I mean, he wouldn't have been like he couldn't have pointed to the document and saw that you did it, though, right? I'm just saying.
No, exactly. So he had because the way he retrieved it, he wouldn't have known. He just knew that the document had been requested by a Freedom of Information request. And he saw the significance of the document, and he wrote on it because nobody did. Now there is a story around why that took place. I am currently investigating leads to confirm that, and once I get the confirmation of that, I will be reporting on that, and I'll be pulling the rug out on some certain individuals to actually prove that they ghosted me for the last 2 years. So it's really cool that our worlds just collided because now I had a conversation with him. He's giving me credit. He's getting his circulation. He's going around talking about his work.
Good.
But it's not about that. It's about getting the message out there. It's about getting that document out there because it came from. So for you guys to explain what this document means. That is, I'll go back to sharing the screen here, and I'll go back to that page. So what this document is communications for vital intelligence. Yes. It's a report basically that the 21 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force, had submitted in response to a UFO sighting that explained a bright light that chased an aircraft in Manitoba from point A to point B at the same altitude and speed when nothing was in the vicinity. And what this document proves is that the government investigated that. They dispatched heavily armed aircraft. I don't want to say it because it's in my report. I don't want to misquote it. And they provided this unclassified, and I have retrieved this unclassified document, which in terms he explains that they don't know what it is.
Cool.
So we'll get to that in the back end. So the next thing that I got here is I found that you sent me was former Senator Harry Reid thinks that Lockheed Martin may have UFO fragments.
Yeah.
So tell me what that means and the
Well,
significance of that.
So, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I started putting things together. So when Tom DeLonge started going on his mission, 2015, 16, he was on Jimmy Church. He was on Coast to Coast. He was doing all these things. And I started listening to him, right? Because a lot of the things he was saying was kind of far out and it was kind of far-fetched. And then I just kind of followed his work because I'm like, well, you can say a bunch of stuff, but you can also have a bunch of disinformation agents just feeding you whatever, right? Like, hey, let's tell this guy because he's got a big mouth, he's a rock star, the people are going to listen to him. We'll just give him all this stuff and let him take everybody in a different direction. So a lot of the things he was saying, he was talking about Lockheed. He was talking about Skunk Works specifically. A lot of the things, his whole origin story about getting into UFOs was, somebody, they were having their first ever, and he said it was a aerospace company. I'm almost 99% sure here that it's Lockheed that did their first ever bring your family to work day. And somebody he knew was friends of the family or something like that said that, hey, can you introduce the CEO? And he said, yeah, if I can have 10 minutes alone with him. And he just said that just to say it because he was like, whatever. And then he came up with it. Well, anyway, I'll skip if you guys know that story. If not, whatever. But you go through all of his books, the nonfiction books, the fiction books, and you see that Lockheed, Martin Skunk Works plays a huge role in all this classified, these black, siloed, compartmentalized things where basically the government's like, hey, you're not the government. Nobody can, do a Freedom of Information Act for you. Here's some stuff, work on this for us. And that way it's going to sit there and you can't go to them and go, hey, give me all your data, right? Because it's just a private company. They're just going to tell you to screw off. So, and then Steve Justice, was sitting on that stage in 17 when To the Stars is announced. So you got Lou Elizondo, you got Chris Mellon, you got Steve Justice, you got Hal Puthoff. Steve Justice spent 30 some years at Skunk Works, right? Lockheed and Skunk Works and then the Black Project. So I'm thinking, okay, well, there's something to do to that too. So then To the Stars, still at this time, they talked to Linda Moulton Howell. They spent a bunch of money on a fragment that she got, part of Art's parts. There's all these things. They're trying to get metamaterials, materials. Mm-hmm. And they're doing all this stuff. They entered a CRADA with the United States Army because they didn't have because the United States Army has, $1 billion labs and they can do all this stuff and they have these things. So when this came out, it's like, well, yeah, to me, it's like, in my mind, and maybe we're skipping ahead, but I think that they had this plan, and it's probably a 5-year, an 8-year, 10-year plan to do this. We're going to release these videos. We're going to get everybody interested. We're going to get, we're going to get academia interested. We're going to get the layman interested. We're going to get everybody interested and no, it's not a thing. Oh, okay. We have parts. Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe we have pieces of crash saucers. Yeah. Maybe we've been working on it for 70 years, whatever. Right. So to me, I think it's part of that thing. So when then this article comes out, it's just adding fuel to that whole entire thing. It's like, well, yeah, of course they got parts, man. If you're the U.S. government, you can't sit there because the U.S. government can put their hands up in the air and go, we don't have anything. Because they don't. Because they gave him the Lockheed Martin. They gave him to Raytheon. They gave him to all these other companies, right? Because that's what they do. Mm-hmm.
So then former senator, so that's important. He's a politician, former politician, right?
Right.
Harry Reid thinks that Lockheed Martin may have UFO fragments. So you've just explained the context onto why he thinks that, but why is he so important to be saying that?
He was the one that started ATIP. He was the one that went to Inouye and I can't remember if it was Stevens, the other two senators, and got them to spend, earmark that $22 million that funded ATIP, that started the whole thing with Lou Elizondo, right? So he's been passionately behind it since forever. So he's the guy,
That's why I was asking. So it's not just information, it's the source. So when we're looking at these media articles, it's also important, not just the journalist. The journalist has got the story, but it's who says what. It's not what they say, it's who's saying it. So in this circumstance, he's a pretty high up guy saying some pretty far out things.
Right. He was in the Phenomenon, James Fox's movie. A lot of the stuff he said, he's been really vocal about it. And the guy's older and he's got cancer, and I think he's finally like, hey, this is happening. You know, and some of the things you said is like, you know, nobody's seen, you know, not even scratch the surface of any of the things that he's seen, right? For a classified briefing. So the guy's got to know. He's got to know.
And if he's on his way out, what has he got to lose?
What are they going to do?
That seems to be a trend.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Okay, so let's move on to the next article or the next post. Let me see what we got here. Which is so that was April 30th. Mm-hmm. So May 3rd. So that
I found this thing online. Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 days later, a memorandum from the Inspector General, Department of Defense. I'll read this for our audio guys. Subject: evaluation of the DoD's actions regarding the unidentified aerial phenomenon. Project number, several letters and numbers. We plan to begin the subject evaluation in May 2021. The objective of this evaluation is to determine the extent of which the Department of Defense has taken actions regarding unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP. We may revise that the objective as the evaluation proceeds, and we will consider, I'm going to zoom this in here, suggestions for management for additional or revised objectives. We will perform the evaluation of the offices of the Secretary of Defense, military services, combatant commands, combat support agencies, defense agencies, and the military criminal investigative organizations. We may identify additional locations during the evaluation. Please provide us with a point of contact for the evaluation within 5 days of that date of this memorandum. So that would be tomorrow.
Yep.
This point of contact should be a government employee or military service, member of a GS-15 play band equivalent of the military equivalent. Send the contact's name, title, grade, pay band, phone number, and email address to redacted. You can obtain information about the department, blah, 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 and all this other stuff about how to find the person. And then please contact redacted, signed by Randolph R. Stone, which is the Assistant Inspector General for Evaluations. Let me see. I can't see past my screen share there, but so
the second page of that is that it got sent to everyone, right? Like the NRO, CIA, NSA, like everybody, Office of any type of military. So that I found and posted, and Stephen Greenstreet from the Post grabbed it. Nick Pope grabbed it and was like, "Hey, thanks, John." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." It's just I try to troll all kinds of stuff just to see anything that comes up, UAP, whatever, right? So that popped up and I threw it on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, check this out." And to me, there's been news articles about it all over. Everybody's ran with this story now, right? So it's all over CBS. It's all over everything. So to me, that sounds like, hey, you guys aren't doing your job. Get your shit straight. Yeah. We need a person to talk to. We need their name. We need the rank. We need what they're doing, and we need them assigned to this, because from what I understand, from what I hear, is that there's congressmen, senators, things like that are going, we need this done. You guys just can't fluff this, right? You guys just can't go, we didn't get it done, and not have any oversight. So from what I understand, that their people are just going, hey, get your shit together. We need somebody to name, and we need names to name, and we need to like call out on these people, because this report's due at the end of June, and probably nobody's turned in anything. This is my thought behind this whole thing, is that everybody's like, yeah, okay, cool, and that nothing's going on, and they have people, these politicians that have people, from the big phone home, and just people in general going, hey, we care about this. It's all over. We care. And nobody's doing anything about it. So they're going to turn to the politicians and go, why aren't you doing anything about it? So I think this is preemptive. Get the Inspector General. They usually deal with fraud and things like that or whatever. So I think they're just kind of preemptively going, get your shit straight.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to stop for a second. So Angela, you just did the first super chat thing, however that works. It made my screen go all crazy. So I just want to say, I just want to say thanks. And now I know how that works. And the comment that was supposed to be there was, we are 2,085 years into a 3,000-year plan.
Seems legit.
And thank you so much for your support, Angela. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. And just so everybody knows, we're raising money to build our academy so we can teach you guys how to do what we do, how to investigate the phenomena, and so we can do some actual science experiments about the phenomenon and try and get some answers. So thank you for contributing to that cause. So before we go to the next headline, John, do you have an idea of who that person may be? Do you think it would be like Lou?
You, who the person is in the UAPTF?
Well, that they're going to assign to this?
Well, they've already assigned people from what I understand. From what I understand, it's a skeleton crew. Don't quote me on any of this, but from what I understand, it's not enough people to do the job that they've been tasked with. And the people that they've tasked the job with don't have the rank to pull for some of this information. And I don't know if any of these people are just, hey, guy number 7 and girl 14, you're in and have zero experience with the phenomenon at all, or if these people have had, previous experience with S.R.I.C.F or AASR or any of that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be a huge challenge for somebody to just walk in and just get assigned this and they have no idea what they're doing, let alone if they did know what they're doing and they're dealing with the skeleton staff. So, I don't know.
I was going to say, for context, can you explain to our audience what document it is that we're speaking about in general that's coming on June 1st? Like what this is all about?
Yeah, sorry. So June 1st, so in the COVID relief bill back in August in the United States, they put Marco Rubio, a senator from Florida, and I can't remember if it was Mark Warner or not, but somebody else co-sponsored a bill to say that there needs to be a investigation in an unexplained aerial phenomenon, and there needs to be a classified section to that, and an unclassified that's available to the American public by, it was 180 days from the beginning of the year or whatever. So that ended up being June, whatever. I don't know if 180 days is right. I'm sorry. But anyways, it's June. At the end of June, there has to be an unclassified report to the American people, and a classified section of that report to Congress and the Senate of what's going on with this UAPTF, because the way they're spinning it here in America is that it's a threat. They don't know it's a threat, but it's over all of our military installations and exercises and all these things. So they have to investigate it, because if not, that's the way they're spinning it. So that report's coming out. Everybody's going, yay, that's going to be bit. There's people trying to poo-poo it and say, don't get your hopes up. It's going to be kind of a whitewash thing. So I don't know. But everybody's excited about it.
Well, for me, I needed to come out like yesterday, because there's work that I'm holding on to that I'm not doing, because it's possible that they might just reveal the truth around it. So I don't want to do all this work to have them be like, we released it, because as you can tell from me releasing the document a year ago, it went nowhere.
Right.
And then some journalists came along a year later. I don't have time to waste. I went through, a whole bunch of family therapy there to calm me down with how mad I was that I worked so hard and I got something so important that nobody seems to give a shit about. That's
the thing though, man. I've Chris Mellon was on Joe Rogan, and he was like,
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
It ties in the same thing. He was like, I released a video, and everybody was like, whatever.
Yeah, no, I know. So I want to say, Kate, you just did a super sticker. I have no idea what that is, but thank you so much, because it's buzzing on my screen. This super chat's pretty super. This is cool.
Yeah, that's rad.
This is really cool. Thank you so much. All right, man, let's get on to the next article. This is one that I found, and I don't know if you heard about this. Bloomberg.
Did you hear about that?
Okay,
I did see that, yeah.
If the Pentagon takes UFOs seriously, so should markets. The possibility of alien life on Earth has implications for the entire human race, including investors. So this is May 4th, 8 a.m., so the next day. This article basically goes on, and it talks about the finances. So did you read this one?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us what it's about and the significance of that, please.
Well, I think a lot of it is, for me, the cool part, and there's two things of this. If you throw that back up, if you throw it back up and you look at the screen shot or the picture they use, it's terrible, because this happens, and this is what they're trying to get away with. Like, this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of people dressed up in costumes or whatever, and it's always, like in previously up until like, it still happens now, they'll do the woo 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 music and everything when they talk about UFOs and, the X-Files theme or something, and they'll get the tinfoil hats out. And to me, I was excited about this, and it's Bloomberg, which is a huge financial thing, right? But at the same time, they're showing this, and it's like, so people immediately associate this with bullshit. Even if everything they had to say here is completely legitimate, you look at this picture and you're like, yeah, okay. Right. And that's my perception of it. And I think there's a lot of people's perceptions of it as well. But
the significance of this for me is that they're stating that I think it's a positive that the stocks won't be affected if aliens exist. So
it would just be a boom, right? Yeah.
I feel like this is part of that conditioning, because when COVID happened, the stocks went down, 9/11 stocks, all these things. When all these big crucial things happened, the financial district was affected and people lost it. So this could be a significant move to say, hey, it's okay. You're not going to lose your house.
Yeah. No. I completely agree, and I think there's room for investment, and it's going to be. And I've heard this around too, that there's going to be like a new arms race. If they do come out and say we have material, if we have crash debris, something dropped out of the sky and we don't know what it is, that's going to be the biggest arms race in the world. Mm-hmm. You can be able to turn that into some type of weapon, or be able to monetize it into something for, medical or environmental, anything, right? It's going to be huge. And that would just drive industries. It would create brand new industries. It would change the way the entire world spins.
I was having a conversation with someone who called me today. I won't mention his name because he was having a breakdown because the world was falling apart. But I was able to talk him down, and I'm hoping he's listening. But we were basically wanted to know what was going to happen if the report had come out. And I said, I had theorized 4 possible scenarios, and I'm interested to know your opinion on that too. So scenario 1 is we have nothing. And that is a possibility, but the likelihood of that is probably very low because of all this buzz and all this media stuff. Why come this far just to pull back? Mm-hmm. Scenario 2 is, we have technology that we didn't tell you, and it belongs to us. Here's the scientists behind it, and this is why we didn't tell you, and this is all these other things, and blah, 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 and here's to a new future. That's likely, very likely. Scenario number 3 is we don't know what this is, but we believe it to be a foreign intelligence, and we're going to war against such and such. And then scenario number 4, which I think is the least likely, is aliens, or it comes from somewhere else, and nobody in the world knows what it is. Right? Because it's acknowledging that the technology exists. I think they're going to say that we have something. But what's important after that is the document needs to explain where it came from, how they found it, who has it, how it's stored, and what it means for everything. And if it's alien in origin and they have the answers to all that, then we can confirm that they're connected with someone who's connected to them. Because if they don't know, then it's a risk to global security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally, man. I still go back to this, and I hate to be this guy, but it's kind of my training and my background, but this all could be a big ruse.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of it that's just pointing us into the direction where we're trying to focus our attention. We're focusing our attention here, and 4 steps down the line, there's some shit going on that they don't want us to pay attention to.
Well, there's different factions. So this is the thing. Our UFO community is very small. The rest of the world is dealing with COVID. Mm-hmm. So COVID is still a thing that's very serious. We're focusing on this right now, but there's a lot of people that don't even know that this conversation is happening. They're just like, oh, aliens exist? Okay, cool. They're moving on, living their lives. So who's being distracted? Are they being distracted, or are we being distracted right now? Because there's also people, we're also the same type of people that that may say that COVID's a conspiracy. So like where, who's being herded right now. It could go either way.
Yeah. Right.
But if aliens do exist, that is when the rest of the world's going to be like, what? Which is why the financial district, all these measurements are being put into place ahead of time. We're conveniently locked down, so we just got to stay locked down a little bit further while we get used to our alien buddies coming in, or maybe the aliens are responsible for this sickness. There's so many explanations, which is why I need this document to come out so I can move on with the work that I got to do, because there's a lot of people that need help, and there's no sense in doing some stuff right now if they're going to blow the whistle on it. You know what I mean?
Well,
from an investigator point of view.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there. I totally do. I don't know. I think that there's in my mind,
I'm going to apply the shit out of that. Like if they offer jobs, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to submit my application.
There was another thing that came on the news yesterday that I didn't send you, was that they're going to do the reserve. So the Army, like there's the Army Reserve in the U.S. and the Air Force. They're going to do that for the Space Force. They're going to have a Space Force Reserve. So you can do one weekend a month,
Weekend warrior. I was a weekend warrior. For infantry.
Okay, there you go. So they're going to do that again for the Space Force. So, I mean, and if it goes back, and I hate to keep pumping on DeLong, but, DeLong, one of the things he said that early on, and he said it a lot, and then he stopped saying it. He's like, if everybody knew in the world what was going on, like right now, everybody gets out of college and you got a mathematics degree and you're an engineer, you're going to go work for SpaceX, you're going to work for Tesla, you're going to work for Apple, right? Nobody wants to go to work for NASA. Nobody wants to go to work for any of these government things in the U.S. He's like, if everybody knew what was really going on, it would completely flip that on its head. He basically was saying everybody would just, try to join in and help everything that was going on. So to me, I mean, that'd be a really positive thing if that's really what's happening. But like I said, I don't know. I mean, my 2 cents about the whole thing in June, when we can put it to bed right now, is that I really think they're probably going to say, yeah, maybe there was something to Roswell, or maybe we got something, and maybe we got some parts, and we've been working on it for 80 years, and only just now we've had technology to figure out kind of what's going on, and we're still working on it. Right? That's my 2 cents. I don't, no basis for that. That's just my gut. It could be way less than that. They just go, yeah, well, this shit's happening. We don't know.
Kate from the audience has just asked if you were going to join.
I'm too old. I tried. I can't, man. I'm over 40, man. I think the 35 is the top off, I think, for any time.
Well, I turned 35 in like a month. So
you're still good.
I'm still good. I am still
good. Yeah. No, I would if I could, man. I honestly, I was looking at some of the jobs, even as a contractor. I was like, well, maybe I can work as a contractor, doing information security or something like that. But yeah, man, I don't know. Well, that's easy. I'm a Canadian, so like me, I'd have to rep Canada, right? Yeah.
Who's that guy on Stargate Atlantis? I can't remember. The Canadian. He was like forget his name. Scientist, though. He was important because he was Canadian, right? He just made a really good thing. I can't remember. I feel bad. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
This is fun. Are you guys having fun with this segment? Let me know in the comments. And if you guys are watching this in the replay, let us know as well. And I just want to remind everybody that you can join the membership as well. And we're going to put out some bonus content soon. So this thing I searched in New York Post. It said a security camera in Florida captured mysterious flying orbs. It had a quick little video, so I wanted to share that.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen this yet.
I just saw it for the first time today, so I just thought, okay, well, what the hell is this? Hey, look, Bob Ross.
Yeah.
So I'll watch that again. So what do you think that is?
Killer mosquito. It's Florida.
Yeah, it starts off over the side here, which is interesting, and then they move. But then there's a bit of a motion blur.
Yeah, to me, I don't know. I mean, that could be some dragonflies. That could be lightning bugs. I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, that
they
could
could
be
be.
that could be a ghost. I don't know. That could be an alien. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess ghosts could be possible. I think it's bugs,
Yeah, I think it's bugs, but I don't know.
but it's making it into the news right now because
Yeah,
this stuff is trending.
it is. It is. It is.
So me and my wife were talking today just before we come in about misinformation and stuff like that too. So we got to be kind of careful that all this stuff that's coming out as well, like what's reading between the lines because it might sneak something in, right?
Yeah, no, and that's totally part of it, man. I mean, if you're spending any time on Twitter, you'll see the government in there just trying to spin shit or trying to listen or trying to poke. And my DMs are filled up with just the randomness of the world, right? People are DMing me on Twitter going, "Hey, I got this document I should look at," or "I knew a guy." Or I'm like, okay, man, cool.
When you get
Great.
anything Canadian, send it to me.
I will.
I'll look at that.
I will. I haven't seen anything specifically Canadian. You guys are fucking quiet up there. You guys are quiet, and I don't.
Well, that's going to change because
Well,
I
good.
got stuff. I just want to make sure that the world's not going to go to crap first.
No, it's not gonna go crap. I'm gonna keep drinking. Sorry, Mazel Tov.
No, that's not good, man. You're our guest. You do whatever you want, man.
This is better than NyQuil, if you ask me. I just
Yeah. Stephen Kane has commented, "We live on a world that officially still cannot protect itself against a planet-killer asteroid. Until we can, I think everything is just a sideshow."
Well, yeah, probably right, dude. I mean, there's definitely some stuff going on with the sun, and that's a whole nother thing we can talk. We can do a whole nother show on that. Where the sun micronovas every 12,000 years and pretty much wipes out most life on the planet, and
And then Kate said, or Chinese rockets falling from the sky, which is interesting because the
Right.
next article
Look at that segue.
is Pentagon has no plans to shoot
None.
down free-falling Chinese rockets.
That this goes back to me. So like this.
So what does
years-
that mean? What does that mean?
Well, years ago, there was this thing where China said that they could shoot a satellite out of orbit, and this was like, and I'll have to dig for it, but it was probably 2008, 9, 10, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, China can shoot a satellite! They can shoot her satellites out of orbit!" And literally, like 30 days, maybe less, the Air Force was like, "Yeah, we have a satellite that's deorbiting and it has a lot of nuclear fuel on it, and we, just out of caution, we're just gonna take it out so it doesn't fall into some populated area." And basically was just calling China's bluff, like, "Hey, screw you guys, watch this." And they showed, it was like on the news, it was a video, like rocket, boom, satellite gone. Like, yeah, we can take a satellite out too. And like China didn't come out and show us a video of it like blowing up, but the Air Force was like, "Yeah, we can do that. Do it." Like 2 weeks later, blew up our own satellite, right over. It's like, okay, yeah, we can do this, So to me, I'm like, it's
So
just another one of those things.
Why wouldn't they do it? What would it mean if they did?
Well, I think from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but that it's big enough that if they do that, there's a chance of breaking it into smaller pieces and then creating more havoc because you just got a bunch of chunks now instead of a bigger. This thing is a giant. I think it's whatever. And the Chinese just don't care. They'll just throw it up there. I mean, their whole entire space station came down in 18, 17, something like that, which was massive. And it did end up going down in the ocean. I think some of it ended up hitting the Ivory Coast in Africa, but it was, a third bigger than this is now.
Yeah.
I mean, China's just like, whatever. And which is, interesting because China's on the moon. They're on the dark side of the moon. They're on Mars, or they're going to land Mars this next month. And, I'm wondering if all of this is going on is just trying to ramp it up because somebody's going to go, "Hey, guess what America's been lying to you about forever. Look what's on the moon."
Well, that's the thing. That document, that's why I don't think the document's going to confirm aliens, because if it does, everybody who has these theories already are going to be like, aliens exist, therefore.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah. So it's like it's got to be very delicate, or maybe they're going to be like, well, they're locked down, we got the money, Let's keep them locked down until they figure it out. Why not? Just like a bad band or a Band-Aid, just rip it right off and be like, boom, aliens.
I really think that we give them way more credit than they deserve, really. I think that we got they have this master plan, and I think it's just a bunch of people going, well, what do you think we're going to do? Okay.
Yeah, so the reality is, if there is a plan, the aliens have to be involved in it. Unless the aliens are independent and don't affiliate with us humans, then if they wanted us, they would just show up whenever the hell they want. So if they do exist, there has to be a partnership. That's the way. That's the only way to explain that they've existed for so long, or they just simply don't exist, or they do exist and we're nothing. We're not important to them whatsoever.
Right. That's a good theory too, man. I mean, you don't pay attention to ants when you walk over them every day.
No, but they're like, oh, there's those guys. Better stay away from them.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, man, just walk away from it. No big deal. I think we're awakening though as a species. I really do. I think we're consciously connecting to things that we never have before, even not on purpose. People on purpose are doing it, CE5 and all these things, but I think that people are doing it in a way that I think the veil is thinning.
There's also, and I think I accept that too, and I feel like this is part of that. It's not suppression, but maybe preventing us from awakening so quickly or so rapidly. Because if all of us were awake at the same time, we all wouldn't need a government right now.
Yeah, we wouldn't need anything, right?
So it's a transition period, right? So Smirk the Alien says sun equals wormhole portal confirmed.
Ooh,
is that a question or a statement? I don't know.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Okay.
I've heard that.
Possible.
Yeah.
I can't get close enough to the sun to determine that. I don't think anybody can.
Yeah. No. But, yeah. I've heard that. That's a thing. Maybe.
Interesting theory. Also, talking with my wife today, she had some very good brainstorm theories that kind of made me think for a second. We were watching the SpaceX rocket thing and a series of paranormal videos that she shared with me. And the explanation of that is as that debris had left and stayed there and sparkled in the sky, the comment was, oh, it just looks like a star. And that sparked the interest of her saying, like, well, what if all the stars that we see are stationary satellites? And for a second, and I still think about it because from my perspective, I'm not a scientist and all this other stuff, and I can't confirm it, and the scholars are going to be like, blah, 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 blah. But hypothetically speaking, from our perspective, who can't validate, that's pretty fucking possible.
Well, I can say some things that'll probably make you crazy and put me on another list.
Hey, it's beyond the tinfoil hat, bud.
There's a thing called the National Reconnaissance Office in the United States that didn't formally wasn't recognized until 10 years ago or something. And they are like the space agency for spies for the U.S., right? So they have their own space program, all this stuff. They have a thing called geostatic orbit, geostationary satellites, right? So basically the Earth is here, and you can take the Earth and you can put satellites that don't move, right? They're just stay in orbit, like, so you can have it synchronized. And I think I talked about this in one of my other chats, was NRO, they do mission patches just like the military does, a mission patch for every flight and all this stuff. And the last one I saw, I can't remember, it was 18 or 17, 16, but it's an octopus. It's got its hands wrapped around the globe, and it says nothing is without our reach. And there's 8 geostatic satellites that basically cover the whole planet. So the planet's spinning, and you got these 8, I got too many fingers, but anyways, you got 8 satellites that aren't moving, and they're staying, and the world's spinning around it, right? So they're sitting there and just soaking it all in. So that's the thing; those exist. There were some very powerful ones in the '60s that got deorbited. There's the ones in 18 replaced those. I'm sure if we talked about it a lot more, there'd be lots of knocks on my door, but there's some things that those satellites can do that would blow your mind.
Priscilla, if you're listening, there's your validation. That's a very brilliant idea. And this guy just gave us some facts that justify the possibility. And now when I look at this guy, I'm going to be like, huh. And then that kind of lends in the whole flat Earth kind of thing, but we're not going to go there. So let's go to the next the next one. This is good.
Well, good. I'm glad you're having fun. I hope everybody else is having a good time.
I hope so too. This is turning out to be better than I had planned, especially for off the cuff, and for you being sick.
I'm sick.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, I did have it shared. There we go. Okay,
yeah,
so this was
big
yesterday.
Bombshell.
The big bombshell. Christopher Mellon goes on Joe Rogan Experience. I haven't listened to the full episode, but I've been reading the things that everyone's talking about. So what are the snippets from this particular episode with Joe Rogan?
Wow. So I haven't said this publicly yet, and I promised I wouldn't until we talked.
Oh.
Because you and I are Masons. We're Freemasons.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for a fact if Christopher Mellon is a Freemason or not. But he said some very interesting things at the very beginning of this talk that piqued my interest. Joe Rogan had asked, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he asked, you can't talk about this kind of thing, right? And Christopher Mellon was like, you can't really, you got to be really cautious, be careful. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, when I found some fellow travelers that were, of like mind, I inquired. And Joe Rogan again was like, yeah, because if you start talking about this stuff, people are going to think you're crazy. People are going to think you're loony and all this stuff, and in your position. And he's like, I understand. And he's like, and this is another thing. He said, I would always conceal and never reveal.
He said those.
He said those words. I always concealed and never revealed, which is, without getting into anything and sharing any type of Masonic secrets, Ryan, I know you know what I'm saying, and I know it's you guys can go Google it if you want to, but I mean that's something that I have never heard anybody other than Freemasons say in a normal conversation.
I'll explain that. So never conceal, never reveal is part of one of our oaths in one of the degrees. So that. I don't think I'm breaking any laws there, because I'm not saying it, but
I didn't say.
I've never heard it anywhere else but there.
Yeah.
And travelers, maybe he means space travelers, but also in the Masonic, that's kind of how we identify each other and say, are you traveling?
Mm-hmm.
And what that implies is, or what we're asking is, are you traveling to the east? Are you moving through the chairs within Masonry? So that is a specific code that we use when we think a Mason might be a Mason to initiate the handshake and all that fun jazz.
Right.
So what's interesting enough, when we did some research prior to this, because our last episode, we were up till midnight forever. We might be up forever tonight too. Freaking digging into this, we had a theory about Lou Elizondo being a Mason, and everybody on To the Stars, because we know that Tom DeLonge is.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Tom DeLonge be connected with all these other people, all these other things? We learned that Mellon's family, his grandfather, is a Mason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that connection. So whether he admits to be a Mason or not, does it matter? It matters to us, because...
It matters to us, yeah.
But does that change anything with what he's doing?
No. Well, for me, it lends credence because my theory is correct, or my theory would be valid that Tom DeLonge was able to assemble these
Masons,
this Masons disparate, but they're still working together for a common goal. You'll have the other people on the entire other side of the spectrum that'll say it's the Illuminati and you guys are just trying to take over the world and you're trying to keep it a secret. I've had people attack me on Twitter saying, you Freemasons are the reason why there's a UFO embargo and, the truth's not coming out and you guys are just trying to It's like, man, and so much farther from the truth than you can even imagine, you know? So, to me, I think I would be happier that if he was. I would be happier that this is a thing, because if anybody can get this done, it'd be Freemasons. And I'm just going to say it. I'll say it again. I don't care. If anybody can make this happen, it would be a group of Freemasons.
For me, if he is one, and he's an active one, mind you, not just was one, like an active one, meaning he regularly occurs lodge, which means he regularly occurs the oath, he regularly pledges allegiance to do good into the world, then I can trust every damn word that comes out of his mouth.
Right. But COVID sucks. I mean, you got to give him a little bit of credit. But if you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I haven't been to my home lodge in a while because I'm like, I don't want to show up with this cold and accidentally think and kill 10% of my lodge because, you know, everybody's like 70 or 80.
That'd be 90% of my lodge. I think I'm the only youth in there.
Yeah, right. I just want to show up and kill everybody because, hey, good to see you. Everybody's gone. The lodge is done.
Is there anything else about that?
No, that
you
whole
want to share?
That thing is amazing. If you guys haven't watched that yet, go watch that. I think that Joe Rogan's done some really, really steadfast things. I mean, he had Bob Lazar. He's had Travis Walton. He's gone through the whole thing.
This is not like the number one podcast in the world, is it not?
I think it is. Yeah, it is the number one podcast in the world, right?
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So you have people that have no idea about any of this shit. Listen to this. Mm-hmm. Totally. And so that's a huge thing, right?
Do you think Joe Rogan picked up on the Traveler like we did? Like, is he, or over his head? Like, is he a Mason as well? You think he's got?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I could be wrong, but somebody asked me that as well. Do you think Joe Rogan's a Mason? Like, I don't think Joe Rogan's a Freemason, but because if he was, he wouldn't have treated Tom DeLonge the way he did when he was on his show.
Okay, true. And for those listening, what Masonry do is we take good people and we make them better. And I say people because women can be Masons as well. Just so you know, there's rules for that. So this other thing that you put in, mushrooms on Mars. Scientists claim to have found evidence of fungi on the red planet, or are they just rock formations? Researchers studied photos of the Martian surface taken by rovers and orbiters. They say they are repeating and changing patterns of dark patches. They also saw evidence of circular blobs that appear and grew in a few days. These are evidence of fungi, mold, lichens, algae, and similar species. The authors say it would be surprising if there wasn't life on the Martian surface.
Yeah, this is kind of an old one. Bruce Fenton, who's done a lot of work. He's on UFO Twitter. He's got a lot of books and documentaries. Saw this years ago. It came out. It's been out there, and it was just basically NASA's the only one that's poo-pooing this whole thing. NASA still is saying, we don't know, but all the other space agencies and everybody else is saying, yeah, this is what this is. I mean, if you look at the video evidence of it, it's what it is. I was joking around today on Twitter, and I was like, who's going to be the first one to eat them?
Yeah.
Bring them back. I'll eat them. Let's see what happens.
Let's do a video. Let's do a video. Let's record it for science.
Yeah. Hit it with that laser that's on that thing and smoke it and see what happens.
I want to do that with a Ouija board. I've always wanted to do everything you're not supposed to do with a Ouija board and record it, just to prove once and for all that it's their mind.
Yeah. Oh no. So here's a little something that nobody knows about. Mm-hmm. And a week from now, I'm joining a bunch of Rosicrucians. I became a 7th degree Rosicrucian, but believe it or not, I went through a couple more degrees.
Are they degrees or grades? I thought they were grades.
Yeah, they are grades. I'm sorry, but to me, it seems like a degree because of the formality of it. But so there's a bunch of us in our college that are going to the middle of nowhere, no cell phone reception, no anything. And we're going to be totally off the grid, and we're going to do some fun stuff. And I'm going to take all of my equipment. We're going to film it. I'm going to do some interviews with some fratters down there. We're going to talk to some of these guys, and we're going to try to do some stuff that'll see what something happens. So that's going to be coming out on my channel within the next few weeks. You know, we're going to go out there and do that, and we're going to see what happens. So yeah, maybe I'll take a Ouija board for you.
All right, man. Do that. Field work is important. Please do that. But please come back.
If I don't show up, I got sucked into a portal and I'm somewhere else.
Well, I currently don't have the ability to do so because everyone around me fears for the possibility. So I don't get to do it, but it's one thing. So you do it. You do it for me.
I'm going to do it for you.
All right, man. Thanks.
We'll see what
All
happens.
right, so we're going to, since we changed our format here, let's get into this stuff because I changed everything. Yes. Sorry. We will pause right here, but we will continue after a message from our professional partners. Also, if you're listening to this live on KPNL Radio or a future podcast, head over to youtube.com/Experiencer Support Association to see the video that goes with this audio. Don't forget. Nope, the prize is gone. So, just remember you're listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, a podcast by the Experiencer Support Association. And I promise it'll be more organized next week because we just transitioned from Patreon to YouTube. And we're winging it here with Jon Majerowski. And we will be right back.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis and was really taken by his research. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada. And just as interesting, he really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. Note for starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them. If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.
The same thing that draws aliens to our planet is the same thing that draws us to others. Exploration, curiosity, sustainability of life. That's why we go. It would make sense as to why they're visiting here.
Travis! Quit playing around, man. Get back here. Travis!
The last thing I remember was this numbing shock. Stunning sort of a feeling. Very powerful.
Get away from me!
I was just out of my mind with fear, just screaming the whole time.
It's been theorized that aliens prefer remote areas because they don't want to attract attention. Whatever it is that they're doing, they would want to do that in a less populated area. There are multiple accounts of the same thing from people from all over the world. People that do not know each other, do not live in the same cultures, and they're all looking up, they're all seeing things in the sky. So it would be naive of us to think that we're alone in the universe.
My mission is to assist and help those experiencing this phenomenon in such a way that they're able to continue and live with it. And also in a way that it can be measured, quantified, and reinforced within today's society, so that way it can be accepted and no longer viewed in a negative way. One thing that I do value in people is the ability to sense and feel when something is right and when something is wrong. That is a natural ability that we all share. Now, when we combine that with the paranormal and ufological abductions or visits, I have the sensation that these abilities are connected. Not everyone can sense, not everyone can feel. However, those who can are typically connected with something that we cannot explain. And part of my research
It's not just to investigate the experience, but it's also to understand and study the experiencer to find out what they have in common with other experiencers, to try to figure out what the actual makeup is in order to be on that spectrum. There's a lot of it happening all over the world, and I do not know of any other study that is focusing on the individuals as people, only the phenomenon.
All right. Welcome back. You are listening to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. If you're enjoying this episode so far, please consider being a member of our channel and send us a super chat. So I know what that means. So thank you, Kate. Thank you, Angela, for that. Your membership will get you bonus content like exclusive videos, and it will help us reach our goal of launching our training center, which is Interstellar, the Academy of Ufology and Paranormal Studies, which you should have saw a commercial in the trailer there. Also, if you've ever experienced an unexplained event involving the paranormal, UFOs, extraterrestrial, dogman, or any other paracryptid, head over to tessacan.org/reporting system. The more reports we get, the more we will understand the phenomenon and how it affects our people. Let others who have already reported be that example that proves we are making a difference. And if it wasn't for these reports, we would not be able to do what we do for that. And for that, we thank you. Without further ado, I'd like to just continue our conversation, if that's okay. Normally, I'm by myself when I do this. I forgot you were here. Sorry.
Hey, I'm just hanging out. You know what? And in doing your investigation, we talked about this before, and I had an investigation that MUFON screwed up for me that you have now. And I actually haven't sent you the files yet, the actual videos and the.
Has Tim got a hold of you?
Not yet.
All right, so Tim's tasked with getting that. So you're on his list. He should be calling you, and then once he retrieves that, I'll be able to do it.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be cool. I'm interested to see how that compares.
Yeah, that'll be cool, and then we can
because
have a show
they just
about
softballed this shit. Yeah, we'll do a show about it. We'll go on my channel. We'll just talk. We'll have a fun time. It'll be good.
Man. I owe you 2 shows. Keeping track.
It's all right, brother. Whatever you need, man.
No, it's all good, man. All right, so let's move into the next thing. So this was good. That was a good hour. We still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still got a few more tabs left. I've been told I need a pop-up blocker. Whenever I find one, this is my first time, man.
Hey, I'm just busting your balls.
Oh, we already did this one. Skip that one. All right, so the next one. Come on now. Oh. Military response to UFO subjects on the latest Pentagon Inspector General investigation. So that was written May 5th, so yesterday, a little later in the afternoon. So what's significant about that, and how's that different from what we've already been chatting about?
Well, I think all they did is, Susan Go or however you want to pronounce her name, is the Pentagon spokesperson who is, I don't know what she's doing. Sometimes she's like, when Jeremy Corbell released the last videos and back to back with George Knapp on the 3 photos that came up, it was 48 hours later she came back and was like, "Yep, these are unclassified. Yes, these were taken by U.S. military. Yeah, we don't know where they are." She's the same one that said Lou Elizondo has had no. He was not part of ATIP. He didn't have any, supervisor experience and all this stuff. So I don't know. For what this is saying is, we're investigating it. All they're saying is no comment on that. So because everybody's hitting them up, like we were talking about, we get the whole press, the whole world press now is it's a hot ticket. So everybody's going, hey, what's going on? And I really believe in the background, there's nobody going, hey, you have to say this, you have to say that. I think it's kind of like ad hoc, or there's a loose parameter. But I really think that there's they're trying to manage the message completely.
Interesting. It's not on one of the things we saw, but I remember seeing it. I think yesterday somewhere. Henry Reid had produced a document that confirmed that Elizondo had worked in ATIP.
He wrote that as a memo. Like he wrote a memo now on his letterhead now. So he's a former senator. He's not a senator anymore. So basically, he wrote that letter saying, yeah, he was there. So that
kind of helps with that if you trust the credibility of him.
Right. So there's that, and I'm really cynical, man, and I'm looking at it from both sides. I'm thinking, what if the government really wanted to just put Luis Elizondo out there as the guy that everybody wants to say, yeah, he's fighting for the UFO people, he wants to get it out there, but what if he's just a stooge? I mean, what if he's the government? What if he's in the government still, and he's just the guy trying to point us in a direction where we don't need to go?
Well, that's a possibility too. But the message, I've listened to a couple things that he's talked about and things, and his first thing he always does is he takes himself off that pedestal and says, and puts it back on the person that's interviewing him. He's a very humble person when he starts with that. If that's part of his narrative, that's part of his thing. He's doing that every time that he wants to make sure that everyone is viewing him on a friendly basis. So, because he's government and people don't trust the government, so his strategy is to regain trust to the government. Whether or not the government is going to screw us after this or not, that's yet to be determined. But it's already evident we don't trust the government. So he's just kind of being that PR guy saying, thank you, we believe you, you were right all along, thank you for your service. Why? We're probably all going to be out of a jobs June 1st. Us investigators, researchers, unless there's a reason to investigate what they're saying if we find deception and all that other stuff, which is also what I'll be waiting for, because once this document comes out, it will be the first American document that I dissect. Why? Because it affects the entire world. Canada is part of the world, just so you know.
I mean, in my mind, and I could be completely wrong, but is this true or not? Do you think Canada and the U.S. are just like this, like on the whole thing?
Well, are you familiar with the Five Eyes?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Five Eyes. So you got Canada, you got England, you got U.S. You got what is the rest of them?
New Zealand, and Australia.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of ban, and there's no borders with UFOs.
Right. But I'm talking about like the blockade of information, because Canada doesn't say shit. USA leaks stuff out to people and does all this stuff. Australia,
that document that I retrieved, that service document, that document only exists because the Canadian government has to fill that out to send to the U.S. That document is Canada communicating to the U.S. about the UFO subject.
Wow.
So, yes, we are like that. And yes, we have stuff too. And I have evidence that proves that Canada is giving information to the States, and that the States is controlling what happens here, which is why it's suppressed here. But they're not. And I have also information that could very well prove that the government is filtering it to a particular organization that then, I'm speaking in code here because I don't have my facts to confirm before I ruin a reputation here, but that is part of a disinformation program. I'm waiting on a credible source before I blow that story.
Right.
Like I said, with the document coming out, it's quite possible that they just might fess up and say, and then everybody's done, and then there's no need for me to ruin someone else's life because the government's going to do it anyways. And I don't have that on. That's why I'm not touching it, because I don't want that on my conscience. But if that doesn't come out, you will learn a lot about how the Canada government works in ufology, because I know things, man. And it doesn't add up. But right now I need American allies, because obviously I'm famous in US. Nothing in Canada, because nobody else is doing this. You know another Canadian?
Grant Cameron.
Yeah, but he's not doing sightings anymore.
No.
He's doing non-local consciousness. He's on the consciousness stuff.
Literally, that's the only other Canadian dude I know. Literally. That's it.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
so-
Dave Scott's a Canadian, I think.
Yes, but he's a journalist.
Yeah.
He's not an investigator.
Yeah.
Right?
Journalist.
So that's my point. The reason Dave's a friend of mine.
I'm not calling him. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's those bands of people, whatever. He's good at what he does. Whether he's the best for the job or not, that's debatable. But the point,
he's a Canadian, so I know you, I know Dave Scott, and I know Grant Cameron. Those are the dudes I know in Canada.
But a lot of Americans don't even know that Canada exists. So like that's the thing. So,
we know that Canada exists because we can go up there. We used to be able to go up there when we were 19 and get drunk.
There's a lot of people that that thought Canada was underneath. Yeah. So
well, people are.
Anyways. So I'm doing the circulation here in the U.S. stream because I want people to know that Canada has UFOs too, and
everybody has UFOs.
And I want to make sure that when I tell that story, it's going to be received because unfortunately, I got to tell America how UFOs is because that's going to be eating it up, and then Canada will catch up. You know?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
That's how it works. Angela had mentioned Victor Viggiani. Yes, Victor Viggiani is a Canadian as well that is active on the disclosure movement as well. And I've met Victor several times. So thanks for mentioning him. And there's a bunch in Quebec all over the place. But I'm not
the French guys. I don't speak French. Anyway,
I don't speak French either. Okay, so let's move on here. So am I still sharing my screen? No.
Yeah, you're the boss. You can do what you want.
The next guy, this thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this popped out today or yesterday? Today? What's the date on that?
No, yesterday. We haven't got to today yet. Last night. No, 3:58. So Angels and Airwaves. Project Dreamland is a go. I saw this for the first time today when you shared this with me.
Yeah.
Confidential document. Redacted. Like, is this a new album from Angels and Airwaves?
Yeah, that album should be out like now. From what I understand, that album should be out like very, very, very soon. And if you go to this link, if you go to angelsandairwaves.com, it goes to that. It gives you that emblem right there, and it wants all of your information. Like,
right there.
Yep. It wants you to sign up and subscribe to something, right? And
did you do that?
Yeah. Because that symbol is also reminiscent of the Secret Machines book, the Chasing Shadows books. If you take off the dust jacket on the Chasing Shadows books, there's something that's really close to that. Has a bunch of other things written around it. But if you go back to the other page, the redacted page. It's okay. The redacted page of that is all blacked out, and it says only 50. It seems like some kind of contest or something. Dreamland, we know, was Area 51. I can't remember the other the content in there, but basically what it's saying is, I think it's kind of a drawing or something where you have 50 people to get in there, or first listen on the album or something like that. But I think that's probably, I don't know if that's cover art as part of the whole thing. Tom DeLonge's not an idiot. Everybody puts him in that category, but he really did a huge thing with social media when it was really young. I mean, he had a bunch of companies that he sold. He still manages 9 Inch Nails, Pearl Jam's web presence and their merch and all that stuff. He found a way to do that. He created a company called Mod Life that does that. That takes bands, and bands were getting pretty screwed by record labels, and the only way they'd make money was like touring and merchandise sales and all this stuff. So he created a company that did these exclusives and limited edition and autograph stuff and all that stuff, and he made really good money, and he still has a company doing that for some huge bands. So he kind of knows what's going on, and I think this is one of those things where it's like, hey, let's get everybody hyped up about the new album. And from what he said before, from his tweets and his Instagram, was that this is gonna, there's gonna be a film with this album and all this other stuff. So,
and he's always been very coded with his lyrics because he's a Mason as well. But maybe he's gonna leak what he knows in some of the lyrics. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever listen to the lyrics of the Secret Machines EP. he did after the first Secret Machines book came out. Lots of stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'd have to remember.
Yeah, Overload and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, it's really telling.
What I'm noticing here in the symbolism is that this is not the male that we normally see. This appears to be a female by the shape of the body and the head. And we also have the feminism sign, the inverted triangle.
Triangle and around the circle.
So what's the significance of that? Because we've always seen this symbol with a male.
It's called the Vitruvian man, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Vitruvian, yeah. So I think this goes back to the divine feminine. This goes back to the lady, the white lady, the white buffalo calf woman, the Scott Walter, and you guys talked about it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watched that? Right on, man.
Yeah, I watched that. Scott Walters, I mean, that was cool, man. That was really awesome. Sorry I blew you up in the chat, but I was like, Scott Walter, I got all these questions for you.
No. Oh, yeah. That was you. Yeah, I remember that. That was good times.
Yeah, Scott Walter's he's a Mason. He's a Knights Templar. He gets it, you know? So, no, I really think there's that whole thing coming back, man. I think the divine feminine's coming back. I think that ladies are going to rule. I think that they should. I think it's all part of it, and I think it's happening.
It's very possible, and there's nothing wrong with that too. And you know what? Man has been at the helm for how long?
Too long.
So I'm not opposed to someone else, a different perspective, and if it makes everything better, then we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's the way it used to be. So on the Scott Walter part.
Yeah, Scott Walter.
Has anything new dropped about Holden?
I haven't. It's been quiet, conspicuously quiet, shall I say.
Okay.
There's not a lot of new information.
Does he exist? Is Holden Lou Elizondo?
Wow, that's a good theory.
Yeah, you never connected that before? I always thought Holden was Lou.
Wow, that's a good theory. No, I didn't think that at all. I think there's so many players in this game, man. I mean, I had a guy reach out to me, strung me along for a long time, gave me a lot of information, a lot of legit information, a lot of stuff, and then just ghosted me.
Yeah.
And it was really bizarre, and I'm like, what is this dude doing? And I'm thinking that that's all that disinfo or maybe it's legit. I don't know, but Chantel dropping some Canadian dollars on there for you.
Thanks for the super sticker, Chantel.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
That's cool. A question, because Nicholas, I thought that said Cage for a second. I almost was like, what? No, Nicholas Cole. Says, name one bad thing man has done since they've been in charge with a wink face. So I have a question before you answer that. What year was America founded?
Oh, like officially?
Well, George Washington, whenever the Constitution and all that other crap.
1776?
Okay, so it's been that long. since there's been problems.
Yeah, right. 1776.
Washington was a Mason, and so was our guy too. What is he? John A. Macdonald. He was a Mason too. Founding fathers.
Was he?
Yep. But
so was Philip, Prince Philip.
Yes, who has passed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't see. I really wanted to, and then I just quit caring. But they wouldn't have broadcast it anyway if they did Masonic rites. They had to have done Masonic rites. I mean, but I don't know how that works with the monarchy. I mean, not that I talk ill of it, but if there was going to be a Masonic funeral of the Masonic funerals, that would be it.
Be a fly in the room. That would be the ultimate.
Right.
So whoever got to experience that, as sad as that environment would have been,
It would have been amazing.
That would have been also a very beautiful and symbolic event.
Yeah, totally. It totally would have been. It would
The
have been.
aliens would have showed up for that.
They would have been there.
Okay, move. Let's move on to the next guy. Oh, I can't. You shared this with me. There may be anecdotal information that indicates perhaps the U.S. government was involved even before that, quotations, Roswell 1947, in purported recovery type activities. And that was said by Lou Elizondo, and I can't see the bottom there exactly, on a dossier written April 27, 2021.
Yeah,
so what's the significance of that?
I'm pretty sure James from Engaging the Phenomenon made that meme or the quote there, and James is amazing. Significant of that is that everybody thinks of Roswell is the thing. Like, and 47 was the first time something crashed. But if you look historically, going back to the 30s and even before that, there's been cases in the 1800s, down in Texas, things like that there's been crashes and retrievals and things. Cape Girardeau, I think. There's been multiple. St. Augustine in New Mexico in, I think it was 46, 45, something like that, maybe 47 even early on. But that there was multiple crashes and retrievals way before Roswell. Everybody thinks that Roswell, because it's 47, is forever ago, that was it. Yeah. But there's anecdotal evidence that has been going on since the 1800s.
I think Roswell was just the first one that everyone knew about it.
Right. They made the press and then how that went. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So they may have been covering it up for, forever. Since the Knights Templar.
Oh, yeah, before then. Time in memoriam.
All right, so the next thing you had, this is a video. Is there any particular spot in the video you wanted to share, or?
Well, this is a video that Chris Mellon put out before the Rogan interview came out. Okay. So this is a video that, and Chris Mellon doesn't just jump on everybody's podcast and do videos, right? So he jumped on this guy who's ex-military, ex-Air Force pilot. I don't know if he's NASA or not. I think he's ex-NASA. He might be.
It says former deputy. Oh, no, that's him.
Yeah. But he did say some things about some of the things he's seen that were classified. Okay. So he's a space station commander, shuttle pilot. Okay. So yeah, this guy's been in space. He knows what's going on, and Chris Mellon decided to talk to him on his podcast. Good for him. Good that this guy's got a podcast. But, Chris was saying something about, he did see a video that the pilots, you could tell they were scared to death that whatever was happening came between two F-18s or whatever they were flying in, like right between them, like so close that it was like could have nailed them. And that's something that he had seen that's still classified, that's not out there, and Christopher Mellon's also said, in the Rogan podcast, and I think he said it here too, is like, well, you've unclassified the go fast, the gimbal, and the other video that I can't think of the name of right now. Release the rest of them. Those videos are way longer. And, Lou said that, and it's been alluded to for a couple of years now, but Chris Mellon's just putting it out there. Like, the rest of that video, you should see, there's a fleet of them off to the side. And you can hear the pilot say that, hey, look, there's a fleet of them on the ASA. And he's like, there's a fleet of them in like a V formation that are right there, next to the gimbal thing. And Chris Mellon's calling it out and saying the video is way longer. And you should, and it's unclassified, release the rest of it.
And that's important too, because I shared recently a video with Mick West and Lou Elizondo, and I understand his position against the thing, and doing some civilian research with the information he has is great work. He comes to a logical conclusion with what he understands and what we know with the information we have. Watching that video, do you know what video I'm talking about?
Yeah. There's a gimbal where it's where it does that.
Mick West is actually talking about the Pentagon. The Jeremy Corbell
triangles.
Effect.
Yeah, pyramid. Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
So in that video, he basically explains his analysis on how it is not this, and he kind of traps Lou in some things he said in the past. He sets it up really well. The body language on Lou shows that he's very uncomfortable. Doesn't mean he's being deceitful or not telling the truth. He handled it well. But the point that I was getting is the one thing that saved his ass was that he alluded that Mick didn't have all of the video.
Mm-hmm.
And that, from a legal point of view, so probably put the private investigator hat on. When you meet for for trial, you have to have a disclosure where you disclose all the evidence that's available. So Mick had done some really good work in his defense with the evidence that we thought was available. For Lou to mention to him at that time in his space that he realized there wasn't more video.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cross-examining lawyer would be like, "You didn't divulge that evidence. You know, objection. Give it to us now so we can see it." So that evidence could very well be in this document.
Yeah,
and that makes a big difference if there is more video.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that would be an easy win for the UAPTF at this point, where they would be like, you think the other agencies are stonewalling them, nobody's playing ball with them. They have these these 3 videos, they have these photos that have been out. They got the videos that have already been declassified and ready for release. Release the rest of them. Maybe something on those videos will just make people like change the whole dynamic of this thing. Like, I mean, what if, we're looking at this gimbal thing, or they go, whatever, and this thing just goes, like something we can't explain. Like, what if we're looking at like the most mundane part of that thing and the rest of it's just mind blowing that nobody can understand?
Strategically, for the benefit of the entire world, it would be beneficial to release the video with the report, because the report will explain the video.
Yeah, so look at the data. They talk about the data, like what's the data, what's the speed, what's the error, like what's the all of that.
I would
release
feel
the data.
very comfortable if I saw that and I knew that they understood everything about it, and then what they know about it is larger than what they don't know. And what they don't know is they don't know where it came from, and we're releasing it because we want to know if the other governments know what it is, and then we have some conversation about that. And then eventually everyone says we don't know what it is, therefore, okay, we need to look elsewhere. Where else can we look? As above, so below.
That's it.
Right.
But then Lou said before too that the Russians would bait UFOs with nuclear weapons, and the Russians came out and said the same thing. They came out and said they would take nukes out and bait UFOs to come in and try to shoot them down.
It
didn't go well for the Russians.
No. There was an article that I saw recently as well. People were just crapping because of the news press that put it out, but where Putin is claiming that the pyramid craft belongs to Russia.
No, that is the worst article ever. Like,
yeah.
That's basically misquoting Senator Harry Reid in his conversation with George Knapp about the pyramid release. He said, if it was Putin, if it was China, we'd be in trouble. If it was them, if they're behind it, we would lose all of our advantage and we'd be in trouble. And they just switched it's basically National Enquirer style reporting where they just screwed up the context of it. Yeah.
Spin doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to make it
not the
sensational.
Band, the real thing.
It's a good band. What happened to those guys?
I don't know. One hit wonder.
They were at the Rib Fest in Toledo. I think they're playing the Rib Fest next year. Okay.
We have a Rib Fest here too. Jeez. I'm actually grateful we didn't have it. We do security at the Rib Fest. It's
not a good time. No.
Well, so yeah, you deal with the security at your Rib Fest. Like if you're one of those drunk ass hats,
no,
we might have a bad time. All right, so let's go into the next one. another thing I saw too, a mysterious light streak across Seattle sky. So this May 5th, so also yesterday morning, 1:07 a.m. I just saw that.
I think this is SpaceX.
Oh, it definitely is. This is
The launch. Yeah.
It could be Starlink as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's Starlink.
That's Starlink.
Yep.
When Starlink first came in, I was with MUFON at the time. We got so many things coming in. And then when, I'll even show you, like Starlink,
yeah, it's...
Where's an image here? There's Starlink right there.
Yeah, it's
it
huge.
actually looks like somebody else. It's actually Starlink. Here's what caused the flying lights over. Yeah, see, it's already been debunked and investigated.
Yep.
Starlink. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the end of that, except I wanted to kind of prelude that it may be possible that there's a new article that's going to come out in Canada, which is going to cover my report.
Ooh.
So for I don't know yet. I've sent a distribution out there, immediate releases and things like that. People are interested, so I'm hoping that someone will cover it. So that's still in the works right now. I got to wait a little bit because I just released it the day before, I guess late Tuesday. So if you go to the Tessacan website, tessacan.org/data, or you just click the investigation portal, which has all these things. Also, if you're interested in membership, click this membership button, which will bring you right to YouTube where we are right now. Hit that join button right there. You get all these emojis and emoticons and a bunch of perks afterwards, but I just thought I'd take the advantage to plug that there. But you scroll all the way down to our data sets and surveys and evidence. What you'll see is this link is now active, which is our 2020 drone report. The report for 2019 was done in a paper format. This year, what I've done is I've published it as a book. So there's more information and more content for that. It will speak on the UFO documents that I got. So if you actually go to our timeline of Canadian document events, so this is information for you too, John, if you want to follow along for Canada. I'm actually timelining the documents that I retrieve.
Nice.
Okay, so that's important to measure, not what it is, it's also the when. That's why I timeline all these events tonight, because we're talking about them all over the place, but what we can realize is that we were just progressively talking about what the news has covered in 2 days.
Huge,
that was
right?
Only 2 days.
Yeah.
So the next few days are going to be interesting. Who even knows what we're going to wake up to tomorrow and all that other stuff. It's been a fun ride. So that same information for you as well, John. You go to our visual evidence database. You will see this fancy map here, which has a bunch of little nodes that showcase our unidentified cases for Tessa. It's got 2019 in there. 2020 will be entered soon. You notice we got nothing in the U.S. because nobody from U.S. is reporting, but you just might be the first guy in there.
Right there.
Angela has made some reports as well, so she's American. So you know, maybe we'll get some cred over there. These flags are new, which actually is going to link you to the documents, but it shows you where the event happened. That's
cool, man.
These are the coordinates of where the object was seen. So I've done some sleuthing to find that information and chart it in a map. And then again, it should be a clickable link, but for some reason it's not working. Over here on the side, where is it? So you scroll down here. This is why I call it a visual evidence database, because it's only the ones with pictures, and it's only the ones that we consider to be unidentified. And nothing in here has not been investigated.
Sweet.
Give me that document right here. So you click that. It'll also bring you to that page. And you click this link that apparently isn't working. So I'm going to write that down and fix that.
Call somebody, will you? Get that figured out.
Hey, do you do that stuff? You want a job?
No.
No, you don't do it, or no, you don't want a job?
Both.
Okay. So once it's, I think the link's over here. So you go back to Canadian documents and you do the timeline. Timeline will show, and then this bright light, you click here to learn more. It's going to bring you to the page that explains where the CADOR's report came from, which is Transport Canada's safety report. And then I did a freedom of information request, and this is the document that was retrieved. So you get to see it.
It's cool that Canada has the same thing I was going to say. I mean, I realized that after our conversation, but it's cool that Canada has an FOIA, Freedom of Information Act kind of process.
Yeah, it's called access to information. So another thing too, so for you, we have fraud reporting. We'll skip that. ATIA, access to information, or FOIA. So I put that there so you guys can compare. I'm actually educating a lot of you guys on what Canada does. You're not the only one, man. So ATIA is access to information.
There you go.
And
it should be called "What's this all about?" What's this all about?
So
sorry, man. I had to.
That's okay, man. That's good. Well played. If anybody knows of an event that of documents that could be retrieved, you can fill this report out, and then I will do a freedom of information request on your behalf. And if we get it and validate it and all that other stuff, it'll end up on the site. We'll give you credit. So that's access to you too. But what's important now is the report is out. So this report on the website is free. It is being published to Amazon as a Kindle version or ebook version and a paper copy. You can purchase those if you wish, if you want to have it in your hands to donate towards the cause. But if you really need it and you want it, it's free on our website. Okay, so there's lots of ways to get it. But what this report does, and I want you to look at this too, John, when you can, is I have tracked UFO events all over the place in Canada that were reported by Transport Canada. The ones in green are ones that were weird and significant. And then what I did is I broke down the 2019 data and compared it to the 2020 data as well. This is the 20 data. So I'm just going to skip through all this other stuff. So this is kind of like the copy of what I did for 2019. So if you haven't seen the 2019 report, you'll see this document in there, all this other stuff. I wanted to let everybody know, again, I was the guy who got it. But I did something new this year, which I'll scroll through here after I compared everything. Yes. So what you'll see starting on page number 45 is I go back to those cases in the beginning, because what I've done is a freedom of information request, asked the government for info. They told me no record was found. So what did I do? I investigated with the information that was found, and then I walked you through all the new information I was able to retrieve from that to show exactly what has happened, what they could be. Stephen Coffey from Tessa has also assisted me in identifying whether these are drones. I found the aircraft. I recreated the events to give everybody an explanation of what this actually could be, what it means, what it is, and what it's not. So all that information is in this report, including these declassified documents here, which I'm going to get to right now. So there it is too. But what I do is I actually break down what these terms mean, because people get this redacted document and they're like, oh, I don't understand, right? So what I do in this report is I actually break down what those acronyms mean. So when you read this, what you're actually seeing is that a senior officer was dispatched, which is very important. NORAD was contacted, which is very important. It's reading between the lines, hidden in plain sight. So when I recreate the event, so like for an example, this report says that a voodoo on duty responded to the event. So the event, again, is a bright light that chased an aircraft at a high altitude and speed when no other aircraft in vicinity. So it says they dispatched a plane and they intercepted and they did a report. That's what the journalistic document says that Daniel had released. Well, I feel like I lost you there. Still there? Oh no.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm coughing up a lung.
You're hacking. Okay.
Yeah.
So what this actually explains what that information means. So that particular plane was dispatched from NORAD, which is our North American Aerospace Defense Command.
Which is the U.S., right?
No, air base is in Canada, man. North Bay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. See, Canada's got shit too. So, Canadian Forces North Bay, which is NORAD for us, right?
Yeah.
These are the planes that were dispatched. So a picture says 1,000 words. It's not like they sent. So I was able to figure out which craft was actually sent. So that gives context. These are the planes that were sent out to investigate a report of a bright light at 24,000 feet that chased an aircraft.
A commercial aircraft or a private aircraft or a?
It was a craft, Vanguard craft that is designed to transport medical supplies.
Oh wow!
And then
we're trying to get that Rona vaccine.
Well, maybe, right? So that gives context to all that as well. So that's all in that report and all these other things. I break all that stuff down to give you guys context of what that information means and how it still remains unidentified. So
that's right. Do you think the Canadian government has seen your work and they've reached out to you and messed with you at all? All right, I've never asked you that.
I can't confirm.
You can't confirm or deny that?
Well, no, I could deny it, but I can't confirm definitively because no one has validated that. So what I do know is I've done Freedom of Information requests, and other people have. They've given me a document. They haven't given documents to other people. I know that other people have asked for that information. They've got no info. I was able to retrieve it.
Wow. Has it been the vice versa? Has it been the other way around that you've known of?
Not that I know of. I don't know of anybody. If anybody else is doing this, they're not making it public, and that's another problem, which is also part of this disinformation chain and all this other stuff. Victor Vigiani back in the day pulled one NORAD report back in the day. I love the guy, but he's been talking about the same document for the last 50 years. He hasn't done it again since. And I got the new stuff. I shared it with him, thought he would be jelly about it. He doesn't give a shit. So he's riding on the American train as well. But I mean, I like the guy. He's good. He's good for everything he's done, but he's no longer interested in this type of stuff. He's shifted into something else. So whether that's his calling or I don't know. I'm not into that. This stuff is still important. I'm focusing on it because nobody else is doing that. So I can also confirm that when I request these documents, I'm also I served 2 years in the Canadian Armed Forces as an infantry soldier. I still have communication that gets sent to me from the Department of Defense about my time in service. I get updates and things like that. They mail me stuff that says, from the Canadian office, the same building that these Freedom of Information requests come from. Yeah. Same mail room. Just different floors of the building that do the administrative work. They all get sent up to a department before it gets mailed out in the bottom room. So think about that. It gets sent up before it goes down. And I got a quote from one of the clerks there. And the reason why I asked that is because my correspondence from the military is just a normal piece of mail, but my correspondence regarding the UFO request has been opened and resealed.
Oh.
And then taped. So nice. I followed that, and I asked the people, why is that? It's a federal offense, it's against the law. Like, why would the Canadian government be doing that? I also said, these are the reasons why they think conspiracy. I wouldn't expect you guys to do that. If you don't want us to think conspiracies, don't do this.
Right.
So the explanation I got from the clerk is, no, I put the piece of paper in the envelope as instructed. All I can say to you is I'm supposed to send it upstairs before it goes down. I'm like, well, what does that mean? She says, well, upstairs is the processing, downstairs is the mail room. So somebody in the processing room opened it.
Figured out what you were getting.
So did they open it and pull something out, or put the same piece of paper back in? That I don't know. So I used to think that they were doing that all the time because it always said no record found until they gave me these documents.
Right.
Then I had it. I sat on it for a little bit, showed Richard Dolan, showed Paul Hellier, all this other stuff. They told me to hold on to it, not to release it until we learn more information. I waited a little bit. They got busy. I released it on my own because I'm like, I got to do it. Nothing happened. A year later, this journalist picked it up, and now we're talking about it again. Mm-hmm. But I got a second document. And I almost got a third document. So, and I got a few documents I'm waiting on that I may also get. So, why tamper my mail and give me something? Because they could continue to give me nothing, right?
Yeah, man. Who knows?
No, exactly. So all I can say is that what I'm doing is right. I'm speaking the right language. I'm talking to the right people. Whatever I'm doing, if they are watching me, serves a purpose, and they're giving me access to the information when I request it, and they see that I'm producing it in such a format.
Yeah, could be.
So maybe it's being leaked deliberately as part of whatever's happening on the 1st. That's a theory. I have no idea.
I like it. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I ask, and so when they say no record found, I can now trust that there's no record. Because the other thing too is at the bottom of that report, I snuck in a Tesla report that was reported to us independently, but it's important because I have video evidence of a UFO, and I can actually show you that on our YouTube. Let me show you this.
What?
Yeah. Do you mind? Like, I kind of hijacking your show here, but we're near the end.
It's your show. I'm hanging out.
It's our show.
It's our show.
It's the people's show. We're the people's choice.
That's it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up the videos. Let me see here. I'm just in manager mode, guys. I don't want you guys seeing my personals. Then you'll find out where I live and knock on my door, and I don't want that. You
guys don't lock your doors anyway.
Yes, we do. Always lock your doors. Come on.
There's that. What was that video? It was it Bowling for Columbine or something with remember that? I can't remember the guy's name now. Anyway, Michael Moore. Yeah, he just started walking into Canadian people's houses. He said nobody in Canada locks their doors, and he just starts walking into people's houses.
Oh, I lock my doors, and I got this would be the wrong house. Trust me. Trust me. I would be more worried about it. Like, we got this big fence, this big wall, and people are like, "Oh, you want to keep everybody out?" It's like, I'm not worried about what's out there. You need to be worried about what's in here. I want to make sure that if you come in here, you can't get out.
That's it.
So, anyways, okay. So this is on our YouTube channel. It's there for the purpose of the report. The report has a link to it, and sorry about the anyways.
Somebody's got to make some money. Here we go. Whoa. What are we looking at here? These 3 lights in the sky?
Yeah.
Wow. Is there 4?
There is.
One of them's a street light. There's a street light there, right? Is one of them a street light?
Yeah, there's a street light there, but.
Okay. Is that a street light?
Yeah, there's 2 street lights left and right, but in the center there are the 3 dots.
Got it.
So, let me just get out of that and go back to the report and go to the very bottom. Oh, it's actually right there. So I snuck this one in. And I took a still to show you. Yeah. Okay. I investigated this like every single angle that I could, and I was able to figure out through the video where the guy was standing when he took the video. I was able to, because of that, I was able to figure out the height, the length, and all this other stuff of the object. And then I was able to figure out the trajectory, and the trajectory matched with the second witness. So we have two witnesses that observed that thing turn vertical. And then if they continue in the same trajectory, it went over Edmonton Municipal, which is actually closed, which used to be the old Canadian Forces base in Edmonton. And then if you can, so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's a secret underground base, blah, 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 but I wanted to go a little bit further. So I followed the line even further, which brought me to the new Canadian Forces base, Edmonton, which is only 14 kilometers or so away from the sighting. He thought it was a blimp. I did some research. Here's the lights, navigational lights on the blimp. It's not a blimp. I asked my drone guy, is it a drone? He says, no, it's not a drone, and this is why. It's all in the report and all this other thing. So here's the interesting thing, and we'll leave it on that, is that I asked for a Freedom of Information request because I had this evidence. It came back, no record found. And I said, maybe I wasn't clear. Can you do another request and broaden the search? Okay, they do that. Again, no record found. And then I just said, well, I find that strange because I have video evidence and I can confirm through the metadata and all this research that there was something that looks like this big in the sky, 14 kilometers away from your base, your airport. And you're telling me that there's no record on found. Then what the response back from the government at that point is saying, we're not denying that the event had happened. I'm just saying that there is no record found.
That's pretty rad. They're like, yeah, we know that happened, but we didn't put it on paper.
Or it wasn't significant enough to document. Like, that's the thing. Like it could have been a blimp. It could have been drones. It could have been other things. So like, is the government just not telling us stuff, or they're just not interested? You know,
both. I think it's both, dude. I really honestly think it's both.
There's a mixture. So at least with what I'm doing is I'm setting the record straight based on what they say. I'm putting no opinions on it in this report. It's the evidence as it is. The point of that report, if it does get out into the media, which I'm hoping it does, is that somebody else will see it. The pilots will see it. The pilots will come forward and give us additional information about what they actually saw, because I'm investigating information so the event happens, the pilot reports it to someone, and that person translates it, puts it into a report, and then that report gets translated, condensed, and put into this report that then gets emailed to me because I subscribe and pay for that subscription, and then I get it. And then I ask for more information. Then they give me a document from the same party that originally got the original report. That's what they give me. But I'm not talking directly to the pilot. So what did the pilot tell the government? So I'm doing good work with the information the government's giving me. But if the pilot came forward, right? So specifically, I am looking for the pilot of all the cases in that report. So if you come forward and you give me your testimony, I will be able to continue to do some work, and I will keep you anonymous. But I have questions. So get a hold of me.
There you go.
Cool, man. And that's 2 hours, man. We're at the end. You got anything else? You made it. Thank you so much.
I didn't die.
No, not yet.
It's still early.
So thank you, everybody. Let me just check the comments here to see if anyone else had said anything.
Oh, there's some been fun comments.
Everyone's chatting there. So thank you so much for everybody who has been on the super chat exploring that with us. We really appreciate that. You are helping the cause to create the academy so we can teach everybody how to investigate, so you can help me and the team investigate the phenomenon. And those who are members, thank you for that as well. Please join. We got some new video content that's coming in. So we're going to play the closing video, but make sure you stick to the end because there's a new video that's going to talk about some of the stuff that's coming on YouTube. I also have a new video idea that me and my wife were talking about today. We've been talking about for a while. It's going to happen. So I'm going to announce that maybe tomorrow or sometime. Thank you again, John.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
UFOs on the Level. Head over there. Subscribe. I will be over there 2 times sometime in the future.
2 times.
And I always do.
We're gonna have to get you over here sometime.
Oh, invite me anytime.
Yeah, we gotta get you back over to America. We'll get you on this side of the lake and hang out, and it'll be fun.
Well, I'm currently seeking people to read that report and ask me questions about it. So if you dive into that and you want to get me on, we can